Is the SOAP Bible study method as clean as it sounds? Let's start this quest. Kia ora whānau. Today we're going to be looking at the SOAP Bible study method, which is quite widely known, and I do have issue with this. The 4 steps are scripture, observation, application, and prayer. I'm going to take you through a small Bible study using this method and explaining how it can be both amazing or completely pointless depending on how you utilize it. S is for scripture. Now, this is about studying the Bible, so of course we're going to be starting with scripture. So let's use Matthew 6 verse 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I'm going to focus on the words worry. O is for observation. Now, this is the step where I have the biggest issues with this study. Now, worst case scenario, many of the online instructions will simply tell you to make observations from your own personal experiences. The better examples online recommend that you ask questions about the author, the audience, or the purpose of the original statement, the word definitions, or cultural or historical context. But most of these still don't provide any instructions on how to get this information. So if I'm left to my own ideas or knowledge about this, I could read do not worry as just don't even think about it, or having a sort of a Hakuna Matata sort of vibe to it. If you're merely making personal observations on scripture, this will hurt you in the long run, and it doesn't actually qualify as study. It's just self-reflection. Here's how I would do the observation stage. I would start by looking up these words in a Bible dictionary or lexicon, and probably 3 of them. So the word worry in the Greek is merimnao. It means to be anxious, to care for. It's often used for the cares of life which disturb sleep, from which refuge is sought in love or drink, which only death can end. This is an intensely packed word. The context of author and audience is fairly straightforward. This is Jesus talking in his Sermon on the Mount. He's preaching to Pharisees, Sadducees, and everyday people. Next, I would look up which other scriptures in the Bible use the specific Greek word. You could possibly use concordances for this. I like to use the Logos Bible software as it makes it very fast to do this. And the word merimnao was used 19 times in the New Testament and includes verses such as Luke 10 verses 41 to 42. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Or in Philippians 4:6, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Or in 1 Corinthians 12:24 to 25, but God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that the parts should have equal concern for each other. Now, all 3 of these verses, they use worried, anxious, concern. It is the exact same Greek word used for all of them. As you start to go through the verses, other verses that use this same Greek word, you begin to be able to see some common threads or patterns, and it gives you a bigger picture on how the writers used these words. Next, I could look up additional insight from a commentary to get someone else's thoughts on this who's studied a lot more than I have. So for example, this person had said that the Pharisees in their pursuit of material things had never learned to live by faith. Jesus told them and us not to worry about these things, for life is more important than physical things. Jesus was saying God has built into his creation the means by which all things are cared for. The next stage in SOAP is A for application. Having observed, we go from reading the Bible to asking, what can I learn from this and how can it change my life? Now, this is always going to be completely different for every person because we're all coming to the Bible from a different place in our lives. Now, there are some common things that everyone can learn, but there are also unique things that God can speak to us through his word. So make sure that you take the time to think on this and to write down what comes to your spirit. Lastly, P is for prayer. After having studied, make sure you take the time to sit still and quietly pray and listen for God to speak into your heart about what you've studied. Hopefully this has cleaned up on how to use the SOAP Bible study method for yourself, and I'll see you in the next quest.